Hello again and welcome back to another video. Um, Today we are going to be covering air dribbles. Again, this is for beginners by a beginner. Currently I am champ 1, dip 4. I'm almost C2. I'm getting there. Diamond and ones. I would consider that still beginner. And again, I don't like to waste too much time on these intros, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all the support, all the suggestions, the likes, everything like that. It really helps me to make these videos. So thank you very much for that. But let's get into it. Alright, so here we are. You're trying to learn air dribbles. Um, the purpose for me making this video, as all the other videos, is to give you guys a different learning perspective because, again, I consider myself pretty new to the game. So teaching you guys something from a little bit more of a beginner-based logic compared to pros may help you to learn these mechanics. So before we get to it, quick things that you are going to need to know before you get into learning this mechanic. And it's really aerial car control. So a little bit of your air rolling, either free air roll or directional air roll. And then you will also need to know a little bit about shooting off the walls um, and shooting off the wall accurately. But with that, let's just get straight to it. So in my opinion, an air dribble is split up into 3 different parts. Alright, so in my opinion, air dribbling can be split up into a few different steps. The first one being your setup, which is you driving off the wall and hitting it off the wall. And then your first touch, which is very important. And then lastly, carrying the ball to the net while in the air. So first, I am going to go through the setup. The setup for an air dribble is not very difficult, but getting into this position in an in-game situation is really a hard part. But learning it here in free play is going to be your best way to start learning it and getting the concept so that in game you can start trying. So what you're going to want to do when you're setting up for an air dribble is you're pushing the ball towards the wall and then you're creating some space, and the space you create is very important because it gives you time to get more power on your first touch when you hit the ball. So this is what it's going to look like. And that's really it. You're pushing the ball towards the wall, you're braking a little bit to create that space, and then you're going to continue to follow up with the ball. After this point, after you create that space, you're trying to let the ball get up to about that point before you hit it. You don't want it to be too much higher, and you definitely don't want it to be too much lower for the perfect setup. You can absolutely hit it higher, but hitting it lower is going to result in it not getting hit towards the net, which is what you want. Continuing with that, tying in with your setup is obviously your first touch off the wall. So when you are going to air dribble, you want to be shooting the ball towards the net. Now, of course, you're not hitting it so hard to the point where you can't follow it up, and you're not only shooting it. You want to be hitting it towards the net, not hitting it in the net, just towards the net. And that'll look like this. So as you can see, that ball is directly in line with the net already before I even have to follow it up with an air dribble. This basically sets you up for the air dribble in the easiest possible way because you're not having to turn the ball while you're in the air. You only have to carry it, which is the most beneficial part because you're keeping that possession and you're making it harder for the defenders to get to the ball in the air. So again, all you're doing, you're pushing the ball towards the wall, creating that space, trying to hit it after it's up this curve. So you want it to be hitting it right on this line here. And then you're shooting the ball towards the net. So your perfect setup is going to look something like this. And again, this ball is traveling towards the net. And that's really all there is to the setup. It's not too difficult. But definitely practice the setup before you start trying to fly towards the ball. Having your setup perfect is going to speed up the process of learning exponentially. But now we will get into the first touch. Your first touch has to do with you jumping off the wall and hitting the ball for the first time while it's in the air. For an air dribble, you basically want to be hitting the ball off the wall and then jumping for it. So this is what that's going to look like. So as you can see right there, I'm hitting the ball and I'm jumping off. I'm hitting it towards the net, jumping off. What this does is it gets you as close to the ball as possible while in the air, so you can follow it up as fast as possible. And that's really the important part. And what that's going to do is help you carry the ball after this step. But we're going to continue with the first touch. After you jump off the wall, you're going to want to use air roll to position your car forwards, so that way carrying the ball is going to be much easier for you. For me, I've gotten pretty used to using my directional air roll, but of course, using free air roll is completely your choice. I think directional air roll can be a little bit more beneficial because it makes those two movements at the same time. Instead of my car only turning left, it'll turn left and up as I'm holding square and down to the right on my joystick in order to put my car in the perfect orientation. Again, it is completely user-based, but those are the best two ways to get your setup going. So I'll show you that real quick. Jumping off, and boom, my car is straight towards with the ball. So if you saw there, I did mess up a little bit, but that will help me to tie in with that what I was doing wrong right there. The ball was low and I was higher than the ball. So what happened there is my first contact, I wasn't hitting it high enough off the wall, and then I was jumping too late. So I need to make sure I'm giving the ball more height. Right there, I fixed my mistake. I realized what I did and I fixed it. And the purpose of me showing you guys this is I'm where I'm at right now, and I can mess up these things, but it's just part of the process, right? It's part of the learning process. And it gives me a better opportunity to teach you guys what you may be doing wrong as well. But anyways, the last part of the setup is going to be your touch with the ball, the first touch you make with the ball. Before I tell you guys what to do, I'm going to show you what the right way looks like and the wrong way looks like. So here's the right way to do it. And then here's the wrong way to do it. On that first one, all I did differently was not hit the ball with so much power for my first contact. And what happened when I hit it too hard is the ball flew away from me before I was able to make any more touches. And for an air dribble, I'm sure you've seen the videos where people will look like they have the ball glued to their car. And that's because the first touch isn't very hard and it keeps the ball close. And then after that point, the ball is basically being weighed on your car. Therefore, an air dribble, right? You have the car, you're dribbling the ball on top of your car. So yeah, your first touch is really about hitting it softly. I'll quickly show again. When you're making your first contact, you want to be making sure you're not boosting into the ball. You're kind of boosting to the ball and then letting it touch your car and then boosting afterwards. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. And there you are. My first contact is not hard. I'm kind of slowly bringing my car towards the ball, not too slow, because then the ball is going to start falling and then following up. So again, very quickly, I'll go through everything up to the first touch. You're doing the air dribble, creating the space, making your first contact on the wall, which will be towards the net, jumping off the wall, making your first touch, and making your first touch softly in a way that you can stay with it after it. So here's everything together. Here we go. Make space. First touch is soft, and then there you go, I can carry the ball. And that's all there is up to this point. Now, after you make your first touch is going to be the follow-up. The follow-up is where you're really dribbling the ball. So you're not making one contact at a time, you're keeping the ball in your possession in the air. And your perfect demonstration for this will look like this. There you go. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep the ball on the very tip of my car, right? And you're pushing the ball, and that's something you need to keep in mind, is wherever you are pushing the ball is the direction that the ball is going in. So this is where having that aerial car control to kind of push the ball and position your car where you need it to comes to play, because when you think about it, you're dribbling the ball in the air. That's not a simple task, which is why you're here, right? So again, you're pushing the ball in the air. Think of it that way. Again, it may look a little bit more simple than it really is, but we all know it's really not that simple, right? You kind of need to stay under the ball, right? You don't want to be pushing it. You want to be kind of carrying it more than you're pushing it, right? But that's really all there is to the air dribble. Now, some tips for learning this is going to be first finding out which wall you're most comfortable with. So I'm more comfortable with the left wall. If you are more comfortable with the right, it is the exact same process. You're only reversing what you see my controller do. Another one is if you're having trouble with carrying the ball, I recommend trying to air dribble the ball above the net. So what I mean by this is this. So instead of trying the ball into the net, you're trying to hit it over, because all you need to do is slow it down and stop boosting the ball so hard, and then it'll drop straight into the net. And another thing, and the last thing I'll talk about that you may have trouble with, is getting the ball towards the net. So that'll look kind of like this. See how the ball is kind of traveling not towards the net? My best tip for you is try to hit the ball as soon as you can no longer see the net. So what it's going to look like is exactly this. Right there, I couldn't see the net, and the ball headed straight there. So again, I can't see the net, and my ball is heading exactly in that position. So what you can do is you can slow down your game just in your settings, turn the game speed down a bunch, and then this will help you kind of aim the ball right there. The ball is heading towards the net, and that could just give you a little bit of a better feeling. And you can just slowly keep raising the game speed, and then at the end of the process you'll be at top speed and you'll be hitting it towards the net every time. The last thing I could recommend is going into a training pack for off the wall shooting, and that may help you. But that's really all I got. I really hope this helped those of you that needed it. Again, if you guys have any questions for me and think I could help, I would love to help you guys. That's the whole point of these videos. But yeah, good luck on your guys' training, and have fun. Bye.